And shalom, everybody. Welcome to Cover with Jeremy Pyers. So, today we're going to be doing part two of Jubilees. The first part was just full of so much information, and actually, the whole entire book is it's pretty amazing. I've been reading it and studying it now for a while, and I just decided it was time to just read it on my YouTube channel. This and Enoch. We're also going to do the Ezra's, a few extra biblical books. You know, people call them apocrypha, blah blah blah, this name, that name. The funny thing is, who's to say and where is it written that there's a canon? It's not. We got the American canon, the Ethiopian canon, the European canon, this canon, the Chinese canon, the Russian canon. Like, whose canon you gonna pick? That's why we read them all. At least that's why I read them all. There's a lot of insight to gain. Of course, you can find his name, you can find the commandments, the Torah, everything, his ways in the 66 book canon. The thing is, the extra biblical books, they give you insight on the little matters, such as how we shouldn't be following the moon for Shabbats, like a lot of people do, and, many other things. Actually, I was going to make another video this week about, the differences between the Melchizedek priesthood, which is the priesthood we're under, and the Levitical priesthood. And, we're still following his laws, his ways, his Torah. The only thing that's changed is the priesthood and those laws. So I'm going to make a video. We're going to go over exactly what that is and what the difference is, and how most are already, following his laws and his ways. Because a lot of them, some are made for males, some females, some husbands, some wives, some priests, some farmers, etc., etc. And then Messiah expounded on them as well. So, excuse me, there's a little hair on my lens. Anyways, we'll go over all that. I'm putting it together now. I'm trying to get a lot of the scriptures together over all the subjects that I'm going to go over. What the differences are. What should we be doing? What should we not be doing? How can we support our ministry? Should we be tithing? This is a big one. Many don't understand, and we're going to go over that. Anyway, let me get into Jubilees, part 2. I like to ramble a lot, my apologies. But I believe we left off on, let's see, chapter 3 here. Alright, I'll get right to it here. In chapter 3, and on the 6 days of the second week we brought, according to the word of Elohim, unto Adam, and all the beasts, and all the cattle, and all the birds, and everything that moves on the earth, and everything that moves in the water, according to their kinds, according to their types. The beasts on the first day, the cattle on the second day, the birds on the third day, and all that watch which moves on the earth on the fourth day, and that which moves in the water on the fifth day. And Adam named them all by their respective names, and as he called them, so was their name. And on these 5 days Adam saw all these, male and female, according to every kind that was on the earth. But he was alone, and found no help meet for him. And Yahweh said unto us, It is not good that man should be alone. Let us make a help meet for him. And Yahweh Eloheinu caused a deep sleep to fall upon him, and he slept. And he took for the woman one rib from amongst his ribs. And this rib was the origin of the woman from amongst his ribs. And he built up the flesh in its stead, and built up the woman. And he was awakened, Adam, out of his sleep. And on awakening, he rose on the 6th day. And he brought her to him, and he knew her. And he said unto her, This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called my woman, because she was taken from her man. Now, also, to kind of expound on this a little bit, in marriage, the two become one flesh under Yah. This is what a marriage is. It's loving and respecting each other. Not one taking advantage of the other, or this or that, etc. The two become one flesh. So you have to treat each other how you treat yourself. I know it's a balance. But that's what it is. It's all about the love. Anyway. Therefore shall man and woman be one, and therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and cleave unto his woman, and that they shall be one flesh. And there it is. And in the first week was Adam created, and the rib his woman in the 2nd week. He showed her unto him, and for this reason the commandment was given, to keep in their defilement. For a male 7 days, and for a female twice 7 days. And after Adam had completed 40 days in the land where he had been created, we brought him into the Garden of Eden, to till and guard it. But his woman they brought in on the 8th day, and after this she entered into the Garden of Eden. So if you notice right here, when they were brought into the garden, and I think this has a lot to do with the deception that happens with the serpent. Because if you notice, Eve was brought in on the 8th day, and Adam, after he had completed 40 days, well, that's 40 days altogether. Wait, hold on, So Adam was completed 40 days, and then he went into Eden. And on the 8th day, when Eve was created, she was brought in. So I'm pretty sure Eve was brought in right before Adam was brought in. So I think this is when the serpent was able to deceive her, and that's why she was alone in the garden. Because it says she was alone in the garden. And this is probably why. Why would she have been alone if Adam was there? I think this has a lot to do with that. Just kind of my speculation. And for this reason, the commandment is written on the heavenly tablets in regard to her that gives birth. If she bears a male, she shall remain in her uncleanness 7 days according to the first week of days. And 33 days shall she remain in the blood of her purifying. And she shall not touch any sanctified thing, nor enter into the sanctuary, until she accomplishes these days which are enjoyed in the case of a male child. So this is talking about birth, and how long a woman will remain unclean after birthing a male and a female. A female, she will remain unclean longer. But in the case of a female child, she shall remain in her uncleanness 2 weeks of days, according to the first 2 weeks, and 66 days in the blood of her purification, and they will be in all 80 days. And when she has completed these 80 days, we brought her into the Garden of Eden, for it is holier than all the earth. It is holier than all the earth besides, and every tree that is planted in it is holy. Getting tongue twisted, my apologies. And therefore there was ordained regarding her, who bears a male or a female child, the statute of those days, that she should touch no sanctified thing, nor enter into the sanctuary until these days, for the male or female child, are accomplished. This is the Torah and the testimony, which was written down for Yasharel, in order that they should observe all the days. And in the first week of the first Jubilee, Adam and his woman were in the Garden of Eden for 7 years, tilling and gardening it. And we gave him work, and we instructed him to do everything that is suitable for tillage. And he tilled the garden, and was naked, and knew it not, and was not ashamed. And he protected the garden from the birds and the beasts and the cattle, and gathered its fruit, and ate, and put aside the remnant for himself and for his woman, and put aside that which was being kept. So if you see here, even Adam and Eve were giving what they gathered as an offering to Yah. Well, they were the first man and woman keeping his commands, his Torah. If you've been following me for a while, you'll see his Torah has always been, as the biblical definition of sin is transgression of the Torah. So it's always been practiced. It was only written down for Moses. That's the whole thing. It was passed down before that, because they were lost in Egypt for so long. It had no longer really been passed down. And what had been passed down was probably twisted and everything like that. Just how it is today. Just how it is today. So they had to be written down and proven in front of Israel. Because they were blind, just like many are today. Alright, let me continue. And after the completion of the 7 years which he had completed there, 7 years exactly, and in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, the serpent came and approached the woman. Excuse me. And the serpent said to the woman, Has Elohim commanded you, saying, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? So hold on. In the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, the serpent came and approached the woman. Now maybe I was wrong about earlier. My apologies. I was kind of jumping ahead of myself. I don't know though. I don't know. Anyway, I'll continue. Has Elohim commanded you, saying, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And she said to it, Of all the fruit of the trees of the garden, Elohim has said unto us, Eat. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said unto us, Ye shall not eat thereof, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. For Elohim knows on that day you shall eat thereof, your eyes will be opened, and you will be as Elohim, and ye will know good and evil. So this is the serpent lie that he still portrays to this day. To this day. You won't die. You will become a god. You will know, your eyes will be open. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Hence all this new age garbage. All this, opening your third eye, this and that and another thing. Like all this witchcraft, new age garbage. Exactly what the serpent whispers. You can become gods. You're your own God. You're your own destiny. No. No, we're not. The created does not become the creator. Never. Be no part of the world. And the woman saw the tree, that it was agreeable and pleasant to the eye, and that its fruit was good and for food, and she took thereof and ate. So what did Satan do here? He planted that seed of doubt. That seed of, did he really say, did he really say you were gonna die? Plants that little tiny seed, and then it grew and grew, and then she was like, it does look good. And then she just ate it. Didn't even think. And then, when she had first covered her shame with the fig leaves, she gave thereof to Adam, and he ate. And his eyes were opened, and he saw that he was naked. And he took fig leaves, and sewed them together, and made an apron for himself, and covered his shame. And Elohim cursed the serpent, and was wroth with it forever. And he was wroth with the woman, because she hearkened to the voice of the serpent, and did eat. And he said unto her, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your pains. In sorrow you shall bring forth children, and your return shall be unto your man, and he will rule over you. And Adam also, he said, because you have hearkened unto the voice of your woman, and have eaten of the tree which I commanded you, that you should not eat thereof, cursed be the ground for your sake. Thorns and thistles shall it bring forth to you, and you shall eat your bread in the sweat of your face, until you return to the earth, whence you were taken. For earth you are, and unto earth shall you return. And he made for them coats of skin, and clothed them, and sent them forth from the Garden of Eden. Notice how Yah made them cloaks or coats of skin. There's a lot of things and stories about this right here, and how these coats were passed down and had powers and such whatnot. We're not going to get into that. It's in a bunch of different extra biblical books. Some aren't really, I wouldn't consider them scripture, just kind of just writings. But it's very interesting. But that's something we'll have to go over and discuss later. Or if you have questions, feel free to let me know. And on that day on which Adam went forth from the garden, he offered as a sweet savor an offering, frankincense, galbanum, and stacte, and spices in the morning, with the rising of the sun, from the day when he covered his shame. And on that day was closed the mouth of all the beasts, and of the cattle, and of the birds, and whatsoever walks, and whatsoever moves. so that they could no longer speak, for they had all spoken with with one lip, and with one tongue. Pretty interesting how it said the animals talked, huh? You know, it's not only in here; it's in a couple passages in the canon, as you would call it. And he sent out of the Garden of Eden all flesh that was in the Garden of Eden, and all flesh was scattered according to its kind, according to its types, unto the place which had been created for them. And to Adam alone did he give the wherewithal to cover his shame of all the beasts and cattle. Pretty interesting how it said was made from all the beasts and cattle, his coverings. Very interesting. On this account it is prescribed on the heavenly tablets as touching all those who know the judgment of the Torah, and they should cover their shame, and should not uncover themselves as the other nations uncover themselves. And on the new moon of the 4th month, Adam and his woman went forth from the Garden of Eden, and they dwelt in the land of Eldah, in the land of their creation. And Adam called the name of his woman Hua. And they had no son until the first Jubilee. So there's this whole serpent seed doctrine, theory, whatever you want to call it, that's out there saying that, Cain is the son of Satan. Satan had sex with Eve in the garden, and da-da-da-da. If that was true, how come they had no son until the first Jubilee? That was well after. So, just this little verse here just destroys the serpent seed doctrine. It's a dangerous doctrine. It's deception, and it starts leading you down the wrong path. That's why it's dangerous. It'll lead you down this whole crazy rabbit trail, and then you either find out one or two things. You either blindly follow it, or you find out it's total BS. And then you just realize it was a waste of your time. So I'm just telling you now, the serpent seed doctrine, untrue. And after this he knew her, and he tilled the land as he had been instructed in the Garden of Eden. Alright, looks like no questions in chat. Can be good or bad. Yeah, these chapters are just really long in Jubilees. But there's so much packed into them. It's the awesome thing. Just a moment here. Apologies, had to get a sip of my coffee. Alright, so chapter 4. And in the 3rd week, in the 2nd Jubilee, she gave birth to Cain. And in the 4th, she gave birth to Havel. And in the 5th, she gave birth to her daughter, Awan. So this automatically already shows you when they were born, how it was more than just Cain and Abel. She had daughters and other sons, or they had daughters and other sons. And in the 1st year of the 3rd Jubilee, Cain slew Abel, because Elohim accepted the sacrifice of Abel. See that? The sacrifice of Abel. They were already doing these long before the time of Moses. Now test it out for yourself. Everything I do, you can test with scripture. Please just don't follow men. That's all I'm saying. Men will lead you astray. Doesn't matter who. Their hearts, they just start relying on their hearts or whatever the situation would be. Just men can lead you astray. Don't even follow me. Follow his word. Follow what's written. Test everything. And he slew him in the field, and his blood cried from the ground to heaven, complaining, because he had slain him. And Yahweh reproved Cain because of Abel, because he had slain him, and he made him a fugitive on the earth, because of the blood of his brother. And he cursed him upon the earth. And on this account it is written on the heavenly tablets, Cursed is he who smites his neighbor treacherously. And let all who have seen and heard say, So be it. And the man who has seen and not declared it, let him be accursed as the other. And for this reason we announce, when we come before Yahweh Eloheinu, all the sin which is committed in heaven, and on the earth, and in the light, and in the darkness, and everywhere. And Adam and his woman mourned for Abel 4 weeks of years. And in the 4th year of the 5th week they became joyful. And Adam knew his woman again, and she bore him a son. And he called his name Sheth. For he said, Yahweh has raised up a second seed unto us on the earth, instead of Abel, for Cain slew him. And in the 6th week he begat his daughter Azurah. And Cain took Awan his sister to be his woman, and she bore him Hanok at the close of the 4th Jubilee. So this is not the Enoch that walked with Yah. This is another Enoch, Hanok. There's 2 Enochs. I don't know if y'all knew that. But there is. And I believe I think this is the one the city of Hanok is named after. I'm not 100%. But I know there's two Enochs. And one was the son of Cain. The bad one. And in the 1st year of the 1st week of the 5th Jubilee, houses were built on the earth, and Cain built a city, and called its name after his son, Hanok. And Adam knew Hua, his woman, and she bore yet 9 sons. Well, I guess I just answered my question. And in the 5th week of the 5th Jubilee, Sheth took Azurah his sister to be his woman, and in the 4th year of the 6th week she bore him Enosh. He began to call on the name of Yahweh on the earth. And in the 7th Jubilee in the 3rd week Enosh took Noam his sister to be his woman, and she bore him a son in the 3rd year of the 5th week, and he called his name Canaan. Canaan. In the close of the 8th Jubilee, Canaan took Maluleth his sister to be his woman, and she bore him a son in the 9th Jubilee, in the 1st week in the 3rd year of this week. He called his name Mahalalel. And in the 2nd week of the 10th Jubilee, Mahalalel took unto him to be his woman Dinah, the daughter of Barakael, the daughter of his father's brother. And she bore him a son in the 3rd week, in the 6th year, and called his name Yared. For in his days the angels of Yahweh descended on the earth, those who are named the Watchers. These are the fallen angels, the ones that become the fallen angels. This tells you when they were. This tells you when they were assigned, and what they were supposed to do before they became fallen angels and their children became demons. That they should instruct the children of men, and that they should do judgment and uprightness on the earth, which they absolutely did not. And in the 11th Jubilee, Jared took to himself a woman, and her name was Baraka, the daughter of Rasuael, a daughter of his father's brother. And in the 4th week of this Jubilee, she bore him a son in the 5th week, on the 4th year of the Jubilee. And here's the Enoch we know, and called his name Hanok. And he was the first among men that are born on earth, who learned writing and knowledge and wisdom, and who wrote down the signs of the heaven, according to the order of their months, in a sefer, or scroll, that men might know the seasons of the years according to the order of their separate months. So, why was the Book of Jubilees removed from any of the canons? Because it confirms the Book of Enoch, and how Enoch, the Book of Enoch, First Enoch, is scriptures, and how what he writes in there is absolutely accurate. 364-day calendar. Don't follow the moon for Shabbats. And he was the first to write a testimony, and he testified to the sons of men amongst the generations of the earth, and recounted the weeks of the Jubilees, and made known to them the days of the years, and set in order the months, and recounted the recounted the Shabbatoth of the years, as we made them known to him. And what was and what will be, he saw in a vision of his sleep, as it will happen to the children of men throughout their generations, until the day of judgment. And he saw and understood everything, and wrote his testimony, and placed the testimony on earth for all the children of men and for their generations. So, not only is the Book of Enoch scripture, it is his testimony for all generations. You know, you can throw it out, you can talk trash about it, make fun of it. The thing is you have no understanding. That's the whole thing. To truly understand, like, I get it, there's many people that, like, place the Book of Enoch on a pedestal and, like, follow it more than other scriptures. I'm not saying to do that at all, no. There's too many people that do that, yes. What I'm saying is it is scriptures, and it goes over the times, the months, the years, the days. It goes over exactly what happens in the end times. Like, just, you have to read it for yourself. And we're going to actually, probably after the Jubilees here on my channel. It's quite a large book, so and there's a lot in it that takes a lot of understanding, and I'm gonna go over it with you because the Ruach just went over it with me. That's what I do. I test everything. I test these books. I test them as I read them. I don't go out, well, Joe Blow over here said da-da-da-da and such about it. Well, how does he know? Is he going off what someone else said, or did he read it? Like, and then it just continues down the chain. Like, just these people are going off what someone said about it who's never read it. Oh, you know, he calls himself the Son of Man. Blah, blah, blah. Guess what? That's a mistranslation. And that's also in the canon. What is that? In Isaiah? Somewhere in Isaiah, he calls himself the Son of Man too. No one says anything about that, though. The funny thing is, in the actual Hebrew, it is son of Adam. Context is key. Anyway. And in the 12th Jubilee, in the 7th week thereof, he took to himself a woman, and her name was Edna, and the daughter of Danel, the daughter of his father's brother. And in the 6th year, in this week, she bore him a son, and called his name Methuselah. And he was moreover with the angels of Elohim, these 6 jubilees of years, and they showed him everything which is on earth and in the heavens, the rule of the sun, and he wrote down everything. Just more affirmation. And he testified to the watchers who had sinned with the daughters of men, for these had begun to unite themselves, so as to be defiled with the daughters of men. And Enoch testified against them all, which he writes about in his book, the Book of Enoch. Which also, I have the, what is it? The Scroll of the Giants as well, and another book I have. It's not complete, but it basically tells the book of the Enoch and the Watchers version from the fallen angels side, and what they were going through and what they were thinking, basically. And they were like begging and pleading Enoch. Very interesting. And he was taken from amongst the children of men, and we conducted him into the Garden of Eden in majesty and honor. And behold, there he writes down the condemnation and judgment of the world, and all the wickedness of the children of men. And on account of it, Elohim brought the waters of the flood upon all the land of Eden. For there he was set as a sign, and that he should testify against all the children of men, that he should recount all the deeds of the generations until the day of condemnation. And he burnt the incense of the sanctuary. Look at that. Even sweet spices acceptable before Yahweh on the mount. For Yahweh has 4 places on the earth, the Garden of Eden, and the Mount of the East, and this mountain on which you are this day, Mount Sion, which will be sanctified in the new creation, for sanctification of the earth. Through it will the earth be sanctified from all its guilt and its uncleanliness throughout the generations of the world. So if you see that, that's when New Jerusalem, which is the Garden of Eden, will come down from heaven and cleanse the earth. And that's when heaven and earth are all both reborn, become new. And in the 14th Jubilee, Methuselah took unto himself a woman, Edna, the daughter of Azrael, the daughter the daughter of his father's brother, in the 3rd week. In the 1st year of this week, he begat a son, and called his name Lamech. And in the 15th Jubilee, in the 3rd week, Lamech took to himself a woman, and her name was Bethanos, the daughter of Barachiel, the daughter of his father's brother. And in this week she bore him a son, and called his name Noah, saying, This one will comfort me for my trouble, and all my work, and for the ground which Yahweh has cursed. So this is showing Noah right here. And at the close of the 19th Jubilee, in the 7th week, in the 6th year thereof, Adam died, and all his sons buried him in the land of his creation. And he was the first to be buried in the earth. So if you remember, it was the testament of It was one of the testaments, I think it was of Abraham. It talked about burying Adam and the procedures to do that. And he lacked 70 years of 1,000 years, because 1,000 years is like a day. For 1,000 years are as one day in the testimony of the heavens, and therefore was it written concerning the tree of knowledge, on the day that ye ate thereof, ye shall die. For this reason he did not complete the year of this day, for he died during it. And at the close of this Jubilee, Cain was killed after him in the same year. For his house fell upon him, and he died in the midst of his house, and he was killed by its stones. For with a stone he had killed Abel, and by a stone was he killed in righteous judgment. And see that? Yeah, it's just amazing. For this reason it is ordained on the heavenly tablet, with the instrument which a man kills his neighbor, with the same shall he be killed. And after the manner that he wounded him, in like manner shall they deal with him. And in the 25th Jubilee, Noah took to himself a woman, and her name was Emzara, the daughter of Rachael, the daughter of his father's brother, in the first year, in the 5th week. And in the 3rd year thereof she bore him Shem, and in the 5th year of she bore him Ham, and in the 1st year, in the 6th week, she bore him Japheth. So that's when Noah pops up, and we begin the flood. I think we might pause right there for this week. I normally like to read 5 chapters, but these ones in Jubilees, they're just so long. If I did that, I'd have a 3-hour video with just 5 chapters. Maybe some of you like that. I don't know. It's hard for me to sit down in one spot for 3 hours, though. I have to get up and move, and I'm already getting kind of fidgety right now. I'm just an outdoors type of guy. A lot of y'all know that already. So yeah, I think we'll pause it, or just stop it right there for today. We'll continue next week as usual. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I don't see any questions or anything in chat. And as always, if you guys are unable to make the live stream, I always post all of my videos, and you can ask me questions in the comments. You can ask me questions on Facebook. It's all good. If you watch this video and you send me friend requests on Facebook, I get a lot of friend requests, and a lot of them are fakes, and they just want money and this and that, and so there's a lot of times I won't accept them, just for that reason. Or I'll accept them, and then they're sending me 1-word messages, so like they'll have like 100 messages with 1 word each that you combine to make a sentence, and it's like, it gets super annoying. Just ding, 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 ding for like 5 minutes straight, and you look, and it's somebody just typing 1-word sentences to you. Like, oh, I need help. Help me with some money. Help me with some money. It's like, I don't know you. Sorry. There's ministries I donate to. I help the poor. I help the needy. I'm a single father. Money don't grow on trees, especially nowadays. I got plans too. Anyway, so yeah, be on the lookout for my video about the priesthoods, the differences. You know, we're not going to go over every single law. We're just going to go over, you know, mainly the differences in the priesthoods, the Melchizedek and Levitical priesthood. I think that's about it. Well, thank you for joining me this evening. Please like and share and subscribe if you haven't already. I love all you guys. Don't forget to join me next week. I go live every Sunday at the same time. So, I try to post the videos a week in advance, but it usually ends up being a day or two in advance. So, I mean, when I post them, you can just click on it and then just tap the bell to get reminded for when I do go live. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me. Have a blessed evening. Have a blessed week. And we'll see you guys next week for part 3.